So the main job sectors in IT are quite different from one another. What you would think of IT is an umbrella term for several families of jobs. So broadly, I would break those down into software development, and that can be, and I would include in that web development, business applications, that sort of thing. What we call operations and infrastructure, so that would be the kit that you use, the networks, the buildings, kitting out buildings. It also includes things like cybersecurity, making sure that the devices that people have, the policies around that would all fall into that area too. You have specialist areas like databases, people who can program database languages, build database, run the productions on databases. The other areas might be things like project management, so the people who organise the building of applications, infrastructure operations. They're all IT jobs, but they all have very different skill sets. And as you break down into those sort of broader families, you find that within there's different types of jobs that all again have different types of skill sets. So before you really start talking about skills, you need to be thinking about what you want to be doing. Do you want to be programming? Do you want to be operational and setting up IT systems within businesses? Do you want to run projects? Do you want to be do you want to work with data? You've got a lot of work that goes on around business intelligence, and then of course artificial intelligence, which is reliant heavily on programming skills and data skills. So in terms of the best programming languages to learn, I mean, they're all good really. Everyone is in demand at the moment. The Windows C# development language is very popular locally. A lot of companies use it to build their systems and their back-end development. But on a wider basis, things like Java, C, C++, Python are all very popular, particularly with the financial world, larger scale systems. The other areas you might want to think about are things like PHP, which is very popular amongst digital and web design agencies. Anyone who has any expertise in any of those languages will not find it difficult to find a new job. So when you come out of school, college, uni, you don't typically have a large body of work experience behind you to point to prospective employers and say, look what I've done before, which is how you normally assess somebody. So the best thing that you can do to prepare for a job search is actually have some work that you can demonstrate and talk about. Because if you think about it, what else are you going to talk about in an interview? So by that I mean, if you are interested in website development, then really you need to have developed a couple of websites. Right? So you need to go out and find somebody who needs a site. Doesn't matter what it is, could be basic. If you're interested in programming, then you need to find a topic that you can write a small program on. Put your code up so it can be looked at by outside parties on something like GitHub. So at that stage, if you're submitting a CV as an out-and-out college leaver, but you have a GitHub profile, on that GitHub profile, they can go and see some code you've written, you'll already be well ahead. From an infrastructure perspective, if you're interested in a career in networking, then you want to be able to demonstrate that you can build networks, that you can build PCs, that you have the ability to do that. And that might mean setting up a home lab where you can do some of your own testing. And again, hosting this, documenting it, and showing people what you've done. In terms of finding an apprenticeship in IT, there are tried and tested methods. You've got training providers. They will have a couple of companies that will take apprenticeships. The problem you've got is that everyone's going to be scrapping for the same apprenticeships. Actually, there's nothing to stop any company taking somebody on as an apprenticeship. So it would be well worth approaching businesses that interest you as a potential apprentice, but being ready and armed with the information that they need to say, okay, actually, we could take this person on as an apprentice. It could be very good value for us. Because the fact is, there's a skill shortage across all areas of IT. So if you're of a mind to be more proactive and get out there and speak to business owners and decision makers at companies, tech companies, marketing agencies, whoever it might be that needs developers, software support people, whatever it might be, then I think there's a good chance that you could create your own opportunities as an apprentice. sort of skills you're going to need to enter a career in website development. Of course, you've got your technical skills, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, that sort of thing. But I think what you need to understand is what the actual job of website development is, and that is taking a brief. So a designer is going to give you a brief. You're going to need to work from that. You're going to need to spend hours, days, possibly even weeks coding this in a way that makes sense, that's logical, that somebody else can come in and pick up and see what you've done with your code, how you've built it that way. If you're using one of the platforms like, say, WordPress, then it becomes a bit more straightforward. But again, you will have coding standards that you'll need to work to. You'll probably be reliant on other people as well. So there's a strong element of teamwork involved there. So website development in particular, perhaps more so than more hard coding type jobs, does require a lot of interpersonal and collaborative skills. Equally with things like cybersecurity. Typically when you go into a cyber role, you're coming from a networks type background, so you already have a good grounding in all the basic technologies, networking technologies that you need to. But you're also going to have quite a wide appreciation of what's going on in the business, where the risks sit, who owns the risk register, all the stuff that permeates across different departments of a business. So you need to be able to take your head up from the desk and look around and see what's going on, and then relate that back to your technical knowledge that you know about the infrastructure of a business or an organisation. And leading on from cybersecurity, you've obviously got networking as well. So that again requires an ability to, yes, have the technical knowledge, but also be able to see the wider context, work to a plan which has been given to you, that you will need to build a network, but you're going to come across problems as you do that. So you're going to quickly need to be able to overcome hurdles as you identify them, come up with a solution that fixes the problems in front of you, but also stays true to the original network design. So in terms of entry-level roles, across all the job families I've been talking about, you're looking at junior web designer, junior programmers, IT support, help desk. You might start on the help desk. And some people will stay there for large parts of their careers, but others will automatically pick up what they need to know quickly and outgrow jobs. It's a natural process. So then what you tend to find is that those that show the most technical proficiency, quickest on the uptake, get the opportunity to work on new things like projects that the business are doing. And then by doing that, you'll have then build your experience slowly over several years. And it may well be that within the organisation opportunities exist to move on. So you might make your way up to a senior developer. Beyond that, you might even become a software architect. But it's about, when you think about your career, it's about building those skills, technical skills, but it's also about making sure you're in an organisation that has a pathway that you can move forward into. And if it doesn't, moving to one that does. So your career in IT doesn't just happen. You have to manage it. You have to move it forward. So I would expect probably 2 to 3 years in any one position at any one level. You should be, if you're growing and learning, you should be then looking to move forward either within or externally. Whether or not you choose to go to university and get a degree before you start your IT career will probably make a bit of a difference in terms of the level of starting salary that you have. But it's for each individual to determine whether they want to spend their time at university and obviously all the money that goes with it, or if they're actually happy to just crack on and get a body of work behind them, get a junior position and work their way up. It's weighing up what's right for the individual. You might find, for example, that if somebody was able to secure a junior developer position now, and one of their friends went off to uni, that person who's in 3-4 years' time has been developing for that much will be earning a lot more money than the graduate that comes onto the market. Although over time I would expect it to equalise as their experience catches up. So I don't think there's a clear-cut answer. I think the fact that degree apprenticeships are becoming more prevalent complicates it further still, because I think if you ask me to compare directly a degree apprenticeship to an out-and-out degree, certainly within IT, I'd say that for me, a degree apprenticeship would look more attractive if I was that student. But it's a decision that everyone needs to make on their own merits and what they want to do going forward.